Farescape Engineers Inspector Summary Video. Inspector Meneses here. We're here in Springfield, Illinois. We're looking at this particular building here. A couple of issues on this fire escape. We got an original fire escape on the upper floors, and it looks like a new cantilevered system was built, and it looks fairly new. The tread construction is fairly new construction. A couple of issues. We are seeing some evidence of water getting in, so these bolts are going to have to be either load tested and or changed out if it's cheaper, simply because we got evidence of rusty tears coming through the back end of it on these. Fire escape is counterweighted backwards, so people have to walk out third or half of the way in order to activate this. And in case of fire, you're going to need a fireman to hold it down on the ground, so it's out of balance. It needs a release arm to keep people from pulling it down, and it needs to be balanced, so that weight system needs to be played with in order to make this fire escape system drop. We do have rusty tears coming in, and that's typical on some of the welded components. If you don't seal these from above, this is what's going to happen. So now every one of these welded connections is compromised. Every one of these welded connections is compromised, so we need to go in and clean that, and then we also need to re-bolt it. You can't weld it back in there, you have to re-bolt it. Any place that has a welded connection, I want a bolt. In lieu of a load test, I want a bolt in there, so whenever, for example, I think we have this one right here, the new add-on. It's welded, so as soon as you bolt it and you seal it, we're good. This one down here, same thing, this is welded. As soon as you bolt it and seal it, we're good. Looks like there's been some add-ons. I don't know if there was a truck damage or something, but we need to verify the connections into the wall or duplicate the connection in lieu of a load test. And some of these triangles, especially the one up above, for example, that's holding the pivot, as soon as you bolt that up, we don't have to load test it or have it, don't have to have an x-ray to verify the welded connection. So, with that being said, the last piece of this puzzle that I'm concerned about is these treads. Somebody took out all the bolts and then just welded them back into position, and basically that means that, you know, they've let the rust and the water get in there. So every one of these needs to be rebolted and sealed from above. If there's any of them that have a rust in the connection that's excessive, it needs to be cleaned out prior to rebolting. But 100% of these need to be rebolted and sealed. All the connections into the wall, these are all 50 to 75-year-old connections, and they need to be verified, load tested, and or duplicated in lieu of a load test. And that could be with an epoxy bolt or a through bolt, depending on what this building is inside. If this building is open on the inside, we can just basically put in a through plate, 3/4 through plate, and either single duplication or unification of the platforms can be done to avoid that. These connections on the outside of these supports, those are 50 to 75-year-old bolts. Those can stay if they're in good condition, but then I need a gusset just behind it to basically nullify the fact that that's a 50 to 75-year-old bolt, and that only a load test will verify that. As soon as you put a gusset behind there, we don't need to load test, and we nullify the need. Any and all railing connections need to be cleaned. Any and all connections on the braces on the fire escape railings need to be rebolted, and then spot paint enough to make this thing pass. Looks like they've been keeping it painted, so painting is not the issue, so you do have to spot paint all your work and any rust. But this fire escape does have enough paint on it, just need to spot paint on it. Otherwise, a full paint job is recommended in order for it to get a 10-year warranty, and any all vendors should be offering a 10-year warranty if a full paint job is inclusive. The other thing too is that this fire escape is older than 1978, so you must be a licensed renovator to handle this fire escape due to the EPA lead laws. You must be a licensed renovator in touching this fire escape. Any questions? Fire Escape Engineers, Inspector Summary Video. This is Inspector Meneses. 800-649-3333. 800-649-3333. We're here in Springfield, Illinois.